this story at Fox Sports, FS1. The story of it basically becoming just effectively just a whorehouse is one of the most amazing stories that came out of 2025 so far. It's not amazing because we're surprised. Right? Entertainers, athletes, politicians, all these people are the same. They're never paragons of moral virtue. We're never surprised about the debauchery and the shenanigans and the sins that they're involved in. No. They're never paragons of moral virtue. Most of the time, these people need a lot of prayer, sometimes exorcism. They always have at least one foot in hell. No. We're not surprised about what they did. But no, the reason why the story is interesting, because in a way, as Christian men, we're in a way happy it happened because it gives us a teachable moment. It gives us a moment just to pause and reflect and to realize, man, we're doing this thing right in a workplace. And I'm about to give you the 3 things that all Christian men should take from this FS1 story with Joy Taylor and these men. Let's get into it. Now, if you haven't heard of this story over at Fox Sports, the whorehouse, Fox Sports that it is, let me give you a quick rundown before I get into my 3 talking points. Okay, here it is. This woman, Joy Taylor, who is a personality at Fox Sports, was allowing multiple men at Fox Sports to play reindeer games with her. Put her into multiple different types of positions so she could get into different types of positions. That's basically what was going on. There's a few names that we know. This guy, Charlie Dixon, who is the executive vice president for content at Fox Sports 1. Basically, he is the one who gets to decide who's the host of the show, who's the co-host, whose show is on what show, when it airs, what shows are on the network. He is the man. She was allowing this man, Charlie Dixon, to put her into multiple positions so that she could get multiple positions later on. She was also allowing this man, Emmanuel Acho, who, we men don't like, because Emmanuel Acho is a simp. He'll say anything that a woman wants him to say. He's not a real man. But he had some sort of power, position, prestige at Fox Sports, because apparently Joy Taylor was allowing him to put her into multiple positions. Again, more reindeer games with her co-workers. What positions did she obtain for allowing these men to put her into whatever positions they wanted to? Well, she was on the Skip and Shannon show as a host. She was on a Herd with Colin Cowherd. She has a Joy Taylor show. And also now she's on The Speak. She did very well for a woman who has, average looks, built like a linebacker, not really that smart in sports, and really, her background as a bartender. But she did very well for herself by, playing reindeer games to the top. Now, this woman, Faraji, who we get this information from, was her hairdresser. And she was a hairdresser for multiple men at Fox Sports and also Joy Taylor. Now, this story wouldn't be complete unless a creep is in the story as well. Now, enters the creep. Skip Bayless, a very popular, well-known personality host at Fox Sports 1. He's been in other places as well. According to Faraji, Skip was trying to play reindeer games with her, put her into multiple positions, even offering her $1.5 million, which she turned down. Good for her. Because now she's filed this lawsuit and she's going to get paid way more than $1.5 million from Skip. I haven't seen someone walk down their target like this since Chuck Connors in A Rifleman.
The
Good for Fraji. Now, let's get into the 3 lessons. All right, here's number 1. A lot of people believe, and I would also agree with them, that men should not be competing in women's sports. And the reason why we say that, because in many women's sports, men, because of just their testosterone, their physical build, just some of their natural muscle and bone structure, have some natural advantages over women in some particular sports. So that's something that a lot of people with brains say and can articulate well and can defend with evidence, reason, and logic that men should not be competing against women in sports because men have some natural advantages over women. Now, but one thing that a lot of people don't say, and I think we're being hypocritical when we don't admit this, is that women have been competing against men very unfairly for a very long time in a very competitive environment. That environment is called the workplace. It's the job. So I would say that men should not be working with women on the same job in the same workplace. Why? Because women have some natural advantages that they can use over men in a workplace to beat them down. Now, you may be saying to me, hey, David L. Gray, the workplace is not a sport. It's not a competition. Huh, I disagree. The workplace is a very competitive environment. Everyone you work with, you are in competition with. It doesn't matter what position you guys hold. It doesn't matter where you're at on the ladder. You are in competition with everyone you work with. I don't care if you're the CEO. You are in competition with the janitor. I don't care if you're a school teacher. You are in competition with the supply person. It's all a competitive environment. And you have to recognize that. If you're a person who thinks you're going to work and these people are your family, your friends, your coworkers, we go out and have drinks together. We have fun. No, you're not going to get very far in the workplace with that type of mentality, friend. No, the workplace is a competitive environment. Let me tell you about the 4 things that you're in competition with everyone in the workplace and why women have an unfair advantage over men. Here are the 4 things that everyone is competing for in a workplace. The first thing is power. The second is position. The third is prestige. And the fourth is paycheck. Again, power, position, prestige, and paycheck. These are the 4 things that everyone is in competition for on a job in a workplace. And this is why it's one of the most competitive environments, and why women have an unfair advantage. Now, for centuries, we men have recognized that on a job, there are other men who come onto the work site who have just some natural advantages that we have to compete with. For example, some men may come on the job in the workplace that we're in competition with for power, prestige, position, and paycheck, who already have some built-in, advantages, maybe some more prestige. For example, some men may come in with maybe a better university on their resume. They just have a better degree. Perhaps they have a better last name. Maybe they have some better references. They have more influence. They have a better golf game, right? These are just some natural advantages that men sometimes have over men, which may cause men to lose out on a job because of men like this. Now, that's something that we men accept. We'll lose to another man because of some advantage that he has. Because we recognize that we can improve ourselves in some sort of way to give ourselves that advantage over another man. We can go back to school to get another degree. All right. We can learn how to play golf. We get better references. We can build a better network, have some more influence. Perhaps it's the way we look. We can learn how to dress better. We can get a new haircut. Maybe hygiene's the issue. Maybe we can take a bath. I don't know. Whatever it is, men believe that we can improve our lot by merit, hard work, and just network and doing the things that we need to do. What men find difficult in the workplace is when we have to compete against women in the workplace who have an advantage that we'll never have: a vagina and boobs. A butt, boobs, and a vagina. Those are some things that men just won't have to compete against other men. It's an unfair advantage. So, yes, the workplace is a very competitive environment for power, position, prestige, and paycheck. And when it comes to just the natural things women have, they have an advantage over us to obtain those things because they're working with some equipment that men don't have and will never have. Number 2. So because the workplace is a very competitive environment where everyone's competing for position, power, prestige, and paycheck, and women have an unfair advantage over men because they have some equipment that men will never have. For men, the workplace is a hostile environment when women are there and when women are in charge in leadership or they're in charge in a human resources department. And there's 2 types of women that are the most dangerous to men in this workplace environment. Let's talk about them. But first, let me talk about the hostile work environment and why it's more hostile when women are in charge or women are in charge of HR departments. One thing that a lot of men don't realize, especially younger men who haven't had a whole lot of exposure to how this thing works, is that, again, they don't look at the workplace as a competitive environment. They think people there are their friends. They think, it's a family. They're there to have fun and maybe get a paycheck. They don't understand that a lot of women, especially feminist women, that they're groomed with the mentality and the mindset to believe that men in the workplace are their enemy, that they're a clear and present danger, that they're an existential threat to them. So many women in the workplace, they look at you men as a threat in this competitive environment. They look at you as someone that's in their way, someone who they need to put down and get out the way. You're just an obstacle. And women have a strong group identity, right? Women are for women before women are for men. Okay. So when you have an environment where women are in charge, women feel more empowered to execute men, to get men out the way in that environment, right? Any environment you see where a woman is charged, women will flock to that woman to say some crazy things about men. Oftentimes things that are not true are taken out of context. And that's the case when women are in charge of the human resource department, which they usually are. In those types of environment, women who view men as threats will run to HR and say some ridiculous things about men, which is unfortunate because there are men like Skip Bayless on a job. There are creeps, right? But for many women, not all of them, I'm sure my wife isn't like this, and perhaps your wife isn't either, or your sister, but at least 40%, 50, maybe even 60% of women on a job do view you as a threat and would use anything you say, anything you do to get you out the way. And when women are in charge or when women are in HR department, especially in this post-Me Too movement, men are working in a hostile environment that is very competitive for position, power, prestige, and paycheck. And you are like an endangered species. There is always a target on your back as a man. Now, in this hostile work environment, you have two types of women. Let me tell you who they are. The first woman is like Joy Taylor. Enter Joy Taylor. These type of women, they use some of the natural things that they have, right? Now, like I said, for me, I don't think Joy is an attractive woman. I think she's built like a linebacker. She's just not attractive, right? But that's just relative. Because the fact of the matter is that she just has some things that's working to her advantage that she can use with just some desperate, thirsty, some sinful men to get her way. Now, and she'll use those things to advantage herself. Yeah, she's going to take your job. These positions that she was offered at Fox Sports 1, they could have went to a man. They weren't necessarily looking for a woman to fill those positions. This wasn't like Joe Biden looking for a black female vice president or a black female Supreme Court justice. No, these jobs that could have went to men, but this guy Charlie Dixon was desperate and sinful and evil. Right? So she's able to use a weak man like that to get her way. Now, so that's the first type of woman. Now, as men, we're not that angry at women like her versus the other type of woman. Because again, women like Joy, they're just out to advantage themselves. Not necessarily, their intent is to advantage themselves, not to harm man or harm another person. They just don't have any morals. They don't have any values, any principles other than looking out for themselves. Right? And so, a woman like that gets a job. We're kind of upset, but we're more upset at this guy like a Charlie Dixon rather than Joy. We look at him as a weak person. He's the problem, not her. She was just doing what she had to do. Fine. Now, it's the other woman. There are many women on the workplace that you have to look out for. These women are not like Joy. They don't use their just natural, God-given equipment to advantage themselves. No, they use it to harm you. Again, as a man on the job in this competitive environment where you're competing for a position, power, prestige, and paycheck, these women find it to be their duty and their assignment as a woman to put you down. They don't care what immediate advantage it is to them, because they truly believe, they've been trained to believe this, if they put you down, it somehow lifts them up. It somehow gives them power, prestige, position, maybe some sort of paycheck down the road. So as a man that's working these in competitive environments, you have to watch everything you do and everything you say, because these women will take anything that you do and say, twist it, contort it, and use it, report it to the female leadership or the female HR departments to label you as a creep, somebody they're uncomfortable around, and someone who says inappropriate things. Next thing you know, you're labeled, out of a job, you have reputation, and you've somehow lost position, power, prestige, and possibly a paycheck. These women are the dangerous ones. Hey, David O'Gray here. If you like the Truth and Humor content, why don't you hit that like button? Hit that sub button. Oh, and hit that share button and share it with as many people as humanly possible. And join us. Join our channel here at YouTube and hop over to saintdominicsmedia.com. Check out my content there, my ministry. And if you like what we're doing there, become a member. Make a donation. buy a book, buy a t-shirt, because whatever you spend there, 50% of it goes to invest in prisoners in federal state prisons in the United States. There's like 1,700 of them. So what we do, we're sending books to prison chapel libraries so that prisoners can read these books and grow in their faith, so that again they can learn to live righteousness inside and then outside of prison. And this may be your way to do the one thing that Jesus asked you to do with people in prison, to visit them. So we're visiting them with the faith to enrich their faith so that they can grow in holiness and righteousness inside and outside of prison. Thank you. Now, here's my last point. And it's something that wraps up really the whole thing that I want to communicate as a teachable moment, this whole Joy Taylor thing for Christian men. Again, the workplace is a competitive environment. It may be a hostile work environment if certain things are in place, such as female leadership, female HR departments. There are some women in this environment who are there to harm you. So how do you conduct yourself as a Christian man in this environment? One thing you may do is just follow the Mike Pence principle. Like he said, whenever he's on work or any time in his life, he never meets with a woman alone. It's always with another person, sometimes his wife. He never puts himself in a position for a woman to be able to say anything about anything he said or done. He always has a witness. That's one thing you may be able to do to guard yourself, because as a Christian man, you have to live your life beyond reproach. There should never be anything that someone should be able to say about you that's not true, or that brings a bad light on you as a Christian man, that doesn't reflect well on Christ in your life, right? Your life should always be a reflection of the light of Christ on your life. Christ is a light, so you should always be a reflection of the light. You're a type of moon. The moon never has its own light, but it simply reflects the light of Christ. That should always be you. The other thing I would say is even be more extreme than Mike Pence. Don't be alone with them. I would say don't say anything to a woman on the job. Nothing that's not related to the job whatsoever. Maybe you can say hi, maybe you can say bye, maybe you can say Happy New Year, have a good day. But other than that, and don't even really look at them. Try not to make eye contact. Again, I know it's difficult. Women on the job. I know women on the job that are very nice. These people in a different type of world, we could be friends. There may be women on the job that you may see as someone who you could potentially want to date. But I'm telling you, you say, hey, let's go out for a drink to the wrong person, to the wrong woman, you're going to get fired the next day. You're going to be labeled a creep. You're going to be labeled as a sexual harasser. I would say nothing that's not job related. Nothing. Because you are in a hostile work environment. You are in a competitive environment. You are competing for position, power, prestige, and paycheck with everyone. And I know it's not. And I know it's not the way you want to live. You may be like me. You may be like a funny guy, want everyone to have a good time, have fun. But I'm telling you, I'm 52. I've been through it. If you're a young person, I'm just giving you some advice that you need to listen to right now, because it's very different from the environment you're in than the one I was in the 80s and 90s when things were different. So the environment hostile. The environments that we're working in now are very hostile, and you need to pay attention, because there's women like Joy Reid, there's women like Faraji, and there's these other women who are out to destroy you. And so I would say, look at every woman on the job as a threat, someone that's looking to destroy you, take your livelihood, and destroy your family. I know it sounds negative, but And I know it sounds like, man, how do I live my life as a Christian? How do I like be a nice Christian? you know, and minister to people and things like this. The best way to do that is just to be a reflection of the light of Christ by living a life that's beyond reproach. Have nothing that anyone can say about you negative on the job. And really, by doing that, you're living in a way that is very reflective of the light of Christ. You don't have to be the nice guy. You don't have to be the funny guy. You don't have to hold the door for a woman because that's something that a creep would do. Hey, I'm just letting you know. But this is a teachable moment. This is the takeaway as a Christian man. And this is the set.